So you bought that third TV. Your closet is stacked to the ceiling with toilet paper. What's going to tie it all together?
Steak!
But what kind?
Steak?
Here's what Costco buyers say are the best and worst steaks for your money. The boneless ribeye caps are almost unanimously reviewers' favorite Costco steak. Found on the outside of a prime rib roast, the ribeye cap is an often hard-to-find cut, but it's worth grabbing when you can get it. It's tender and flavorful, combining the best traits of other fan-favorite steaks like the regular ribeye and tenderloin. Available at Costco as a seasonal offering, the ribeye cap steak delivers the best bang for your buck, according to one reviewer. But it's not only the value that makes these steaks so sought after. Costco's ribeye cap steaks are beautifully marbled for maximum flavor. The marbling also ensures the steak is tender, creating that coveted melt-in-your-mouth bite. One reviewer even said they didn't even need a knife to cut it. You know that's a tender steak. Ribeye caps are so revered among Costco lovers that one reviewer even contemplated getting a membership just to purchase these elusive steaks. The only thing that could make them any better? They're usually about the same price as a regular ribeye. Tri-tip steak is exactly what the name suggests. These steaks are cut from the very tip of the sirloin, creating a triangle shape. Known for its rich flavor and lower fat content, it's a steak that's ideal for those looking for a high-protein addition to their diet without too many added calories.
Listen, it's hard to do your job and focus when you have meat in front of you on the cutting board.
Costco's prime tri-tip in particular is beloved for its beautiful marbling. Though the tri-tip seems to be a regional offering, customers in New England, the Southeast, and Michigan have said they had trouble finding it. Those who can get their hands on it have nothing but great things to say. Like one review that said, "The Costco near me has prime tri-tip. It's worth the extra money if your Costco has it. I can't even eat regular tri-tip after having the prime. Amazing." Another person said, "Those look good enough to eat raw, but I wouldn't recommend it." Yeah, you'll want to cook it, but fortunately this cut is perfect for grilling, and in a pinch, it also comes out very well with a quick sear on the stove, followed by a roast in the oven. You won't find many people who will turn their nose up at a Wagyu steak, which comes from Japanese cattle breeds that get a specially crafted diet. With its thick marbling and tender texture, melt in your mouth isn't a figure of speech. It's actually true for this decadent steak. Seriously, its fat has a lower melting point than human body temps, meaning it literally melts in your mouth when you take a bite. Alongside its amazing taste and texture, Wagyu is also better for you than many other steaks. It's filled with monounsaturated fats, omega-3s, and omega-6s that can help improve heart health, fight inflammation, and increase energy. While the benefits of this steak are clear, the price tag isn't for the faint of heart. At over $150 per pound, Costco's A5 grade Wagyu strip steaks are a steep investment, but one that many reviewers think is worth it. Nearly 650 people have given this luxurious steak a 5-star rating on Costco's website, with rave feedback across the board. One person said, "When I cooked it, my husband and I were blown away. Serve it with your best bottle of red wine and someone you love." Another reviewer didn't mince words when they said, "This steak was the most delicious and tender beef I have eaten." In other words, it's worth the splurge. No matter where you get it from, Filet Mignon is the Corvette of cow sections. It's tender with a mild flavor that pairs well with almost anything. But because it comes from the small tenderloin muscle, it can cost a pretty penny. Luckily, Costco not only helps make it more cost-effective, but also delivers a high-quality steak that even connoisseurs would enjoy.
We're taking the head off because that's not what you're getting. What you're getting are these beautiful 5-ounce Black Angus filet mignons.
One Reddit review praised Costco's filet mignon, saying, "Tender and good flavor. I wouldn't hesitate to buy them from Costco again." Another added, "You're very unlikely to find anything comparable in price, value." One even claimed that the filet mignon is the best steak available at Costco, and many others seem inclined to agree. It's one of the top reviewed steaks available on Costco's website, with 4.9 out of 5 stars and just under 80 5-star reviews. Of course, there are always going to be naysayers and snobs, like one reviewer who said, "I prefer the filet from beef grown in Piedmont, Italy. If you get a discount flight, it can be affordable." Unsurprisingly, that review was thoroughly downvoted. Get out of here with that. While the pre-cut filet mignons deliver on taste, they're still an investment, making this a cut best suited to special occasions. Almost all of Costco's pre-cut steaks are blade tenderized, which is a point of contention among many customers. If you aren't familiar with the term, here's an explanation.
They stick a whole bunch of needles or sharp blades down into the meat. It's supposed to break up the muscle fiber to make it more tender or easier to chew.
So what's the big deal? Well, some people are skeptical of the technique because it can introduce bacteria that may lead to foodborne illness if not cooked properly. Other people don't particularly care, since a well-tenderized steak tastes pretty darn good.
Ignorance is bliss.
Either way, Costco has a note on their label that all steaks should be cooked to an internal temperature of 145 degrees, or about medium well. Costco's flank steak, however, is one of the few that they don't blade tenderize. This opens up the door to any level of doneness, making the flank steak as versatile as it is tasty. The lean steak has a slightly chewier texture than fattier cuts, but it has a rich, beefy flavor that shines in simple preparations. Costco cuts their steaks thick, around 1 inch to 1.5 inches, giving them a hearty steakhouse feel. The portions are so large, in fact, that many people share the steaks to stretch their servings further. The thick cut also allows you to brown the exterior without overcooking the interior, making it easier to hit that perfect level of doneness. While you can opt for Costco's choice New York strips instead of the prime to save some money, you get what you pay for. The prime steaks have more marbling, defined muscle fibers, and added flavor. When choosing your steaks, look for a lighter red color for more tenderness and plenty of marbled fat. They're so good that one reviewer commented, "Twice a month, my husband picks these up and grills them. Haven't had a bad steak yet. It's hard to rationalize going for a steak dinner when we can cook it awesome at home." Costco's top sirloin is the perfect middle ground between great price, great flavor, and great nutrition. Often recommended for those watching their calories, top sirloin is packed with protein but has very little fat, making this lean steak an ideal choice for dieters. Some people compare its fat-to-meat profile as comparable to chicken breast. As far as price, it's a steal compared to other highly regarded Costco steaks like ribeye or filet mignon that require a second mortgage to fully enjoy. Because it is so lean, it's important to cook it properly to maximize its flavor and tenderness. While you can totally cook it on the grill, broiling is a hands-off method that's almost impossible to mess up. Whichever method you choose, bringing top sirloin will make you the life of the party. That's a mashed guarantee.
Yeah, I'm trying to choose between a ribeye and a sirloin steak. I'm having dinner with my tree guy.
One reviewer summed up their experience with Costco's top sirloin by saying, "Top sirloin from Costco is my go-to for steak night. Fantastic flavor and value." Top round steak, also known as London broil, can be found for a steal at Costco. This cut is typically more affordable because it's less tender than steaks like ribeye or filet mignon, although that doesn't mean it can't still be tasty. But part of the problem with Costco's top round is that, like most Costco steaks, it's blade tenderized, which means it should be cooked to at least an internal temperature of 145 degrees to prevent foodborne illness. The problem? Because top round is inherently tough, cooking it that much gives you less of a steak and more of a rubbery smack to the face. Ideally, you'd cook this cut low and slow to medium rare doneness, but that only gets the steak's internal temperature to about 130 degrees Fahrenheit, not hot enough to kill all that pesky bacteria. Well, you can risk it and eat this steak less cooked. Do so at your own risk. There aren't many steaks that make you feel like you're eating a steak quite as much as the Tomahawk steak. Known for their size and large, handle-shaped bone, Tomahawks are statement-making steaks, featuring a mix of ribeye, ribeye cap, and the complexus, they're rich, flavorful, and tender, which also makes them highly coveted. And while they may taste delicious and look impressive on the plate, Costco's Tomahawk steaks aren't the best option if you're looking for something economical. One Reddit reviewer explained that you're paying a lot of money to cover the weight of the bone, saying that they deboned theirs and a full 15% of the packaged weight came from the bone alone. So if you can find them on sale or want to take the time to pick through the Tomahawks to find some with smaller bones, you may get your money's worth. Otherwise, you're paying for something that ends up in the trash. While the ribeye cap steaks are arguably Costco's most coveted, the regular boneless ribeyes aren't as impressive. In the words of one reviewer, Maybe it's just bad luck, but my Costco ribeyes have always been on the tough side with crazy dense and rubbery fat that is unpleasant to chew. They always look great with lovely marbling, but the end result has been underwhelming. While Costco's ribeye steaks aren't bad per se, they aren't wowing many on the flavor front and are majorly lacking in value, which is pretty much Costco's main claim to fame. The pre-cut ribeye steaks are about 25% more expensive than the whole ribeye roasts. All you have to do is buy the whole primal cut, slice it into individual steaks, and you've got yourself a fridge full of the same ribeyes for a lower price. Costco has 2 skirt steak varieties with drastically different prices, which can be confusing. The outside skirt steak is a long, thick steak that comes from the diaphragm and is known for its tenderness and flavor. Inside skirt steak, however, comes from the cow's abdominal muscle and is tougher, chewier, and all around worse. So while it's cheaper, you're basically getting a reject cut that you'll have to gnaw on for hours if you cook it wrong. Not pleasant for a human, though not the end of the world if you're an orc.
Looks like meat's back on the menu, boys!
When people go to Costco and see the low prices on skirt steak, they think they're getting a great deal. One Redditor broke it down saying, "For everyone saying your local skirt steak is half the price, just know you probably are buying inside skirt, which is cheaper and tougher. Outside skirt has always been more expensive." Be sure to carefully read the label and make sure you know what you're buying. After all, you get what you pay for.